What is nature's most fundamental law? Survive and reproduce. Billions of years of evolution have programmed us to pass our genes on to the next generation. For a man, the biological definition of success is simple. Find a mate, build a home, have children, and continue your lineage. He who does not do this is considered a traitor to nature. Miyamoto Musashi betrayed nature. He was one of the most famous, strongest, most charismatic men of his time. If he had wanted, he could have been with hundreds of women, fathered dozens of children, established a great clan. Wealth, fame, status, all were beneath his feet. But he pushed them all away with the back of his hand. He never married. He never had a child of his own blood. He never had a warm bed, a wife waiting for him, a voice calling him father. Why? Was this a choice or a curse? Was this a sacrifice or cowardice? Most people run from loneliness because they fear the dark. Musashi chose loneliness as a weapon because he knew to love something brings with it the fear of losing that thing, and a man who feels fear can never be a perfect swordsman. Legends say there was a woman in Musashi's life, Otsu. Otsu was a woman who waited for Musashi for years, healed him, remained loyal to him. Was Musashi indifferent to her? No. Perhaps the only place in his life where he felt peace was by her side. One day, they met on a bridge. Otsu looked at him with tears in her eyes. "Stop now," she said. "Stop fighting. Put down the sword. Come with me. Let's have a normal life." This offer was the hardest test in the world for Musashi. Fighting against 70 men was easy. But looking into the eyes of the woman he loved, saying, "Don't go," that would bend even steel. Musashi paused for a moment. He thought of that warm home dream, that safe harbor. Then he moved his hand to the hilt of his sword. He felt that cold metal. And he made this decision inside. If I love this woman, I will become weak. I will worry about protecting her. I will hesitate in battle to return to her. And the moment a samurai hesitates, he dies. Worse, if my enemies cannot defeat me, they will bring me to my knees by hurting her. Musashi did not hug Otsu. He didn't even say goodbye. He just turned his back and started walking. As Otsu wept behind him, Musashi turned his heart a little more into stone with every step. That day on the bridge, he killed the human named Miyamoto Musashi. Only the sword remained. Modern man finds this hard to understand. Because we are taught love is everything, family is everything. But for men playing for absolute mastery, love is an obstacle. Musashi's philosophy was this: do not hold on to anything other than the way. If you are attached to a spouse, your freedom is restricted. If you are attached to a child, your focus is divided. If you are attached to a home, your mobility ends. Musashi was a ronin. He was masterless. His home was the sky. If he had a family, he would have to return home every evening. When his enemies threatened his family, he would have to bow down. When his child got sick, he would have to stop his training. Mediocrity begins with divided attention. Perfection is dedication to a single point. This doesn't mean Musashi was emotionless. On the contrary, he felt so much that he feared these feelings would lead him astray. Loneliness was the dark price he paid. This was the bill for being the best in the world. The summit is lonely because the path to the summit is not wide enough for two people to walk side by side. Why are men unhappy in today's world? Because they are trying to build someone else before building themselves. In their early 20 seconds, with no money in their pockets and no vision in their heads, they sink into the swamp of relationships. They spend their energy on fights, jealousy, a spouse expecting attention. And then when they reach 40, they look in the mirror and say, "Why haven't I achieved anything?" Musashi's life is not a call for the modern man to be permanently single, but it is a lesson in prioritization. If you want to build a great empire, if you want to create a great work, sometimes you must enter the Musashi era. You must put aside relationships, dating, emotional dramas, monk mode. Nikola Tesla didn't marry. Isaac Newton didn't marry. Beethoven always lost in love. These men spent their energy, libido, not on biological reproduction, but on mental reproduction. If they had also chased after Sunday breakfasts, we might not have electricity, physics, or those symphonies today. What is your great work? If you don't have a work, you just pass on your genes, like an ordinary mammal. But if you have a work, you pass on your name, like a legend. 1 week before his death, Musashi wrote his final work in a cave, Dokodo, The Way of Walking Alone. This 21-point manifesto is the documentation of how he coped with loneliness. One of the points is, do not seek pleasure for its own sake. Another one, never possess a home or property for yourself. And the most crucial one, never let yourself be saddened by a separation losing someone. Musashi sanctified his loneliness even at the end of his life. There was no one with him as he waited for death on the cold stone in that cave. He had no wife to hold his hand. He had no son to give him water. Is it tragic? Maybe. But there was no sadness on Musashi's face in that moment. There was completeness, because he had refused to be a biological father, but he had become the spiritual father of all warriors. He had multiplied his soul, not his body. The Book of 5 Rings was his child, and this child has been living for 400 years. What biological child can live this long? The choice is yours. A warm, safe, crowded, but ordinary life? Or a cold, lonely, dangerous, but legendary life? If you want everyone to like you, you cannot be a leader. If you want to be on good terms with everyone, you cannot be Musashi. Loneliness eats the weak man alive. It drives him mad, but it sharpens the strong man. If you have a purpose, if you have a way, do not be sad that there is no one beside you. Eagles fly alone, crows fly in flocks. Tonight, look at that empty room. That's silence again. That silence is not your enemy. That silence is the most holy temple where you will sharpen your sword. Let your legacy be what you did, not your surname. Walk alone and leave your mark in places where no one dares to step.